All right, everybody, welcome to this week's weekly software workshop. We're going to go ahead and wait about just one more minute to let the attendee list to slow down, and then we'll go ahead and get started. All right, that attendee list has started to slow down, so we're going to go ahead and get started. For those of you who I have not met before or talked to, my name is Mason Wells. I'm the manager of customer success here at eTruckBiz. This is our weekly software workshop where once a week we go through bite-sized pieces of the software. It's easier to take bite-sized pieces because it is quite a big software product. So we go over little bits and pieces so that way if you have questions about little parts and intricacies of the software, we go through it and you get to ask questions that we answer. Just so you know, this webinar is a little bit different than our other webinars that we have throughout the week. It is super informal, so we've made it so that you guys can unmute yourself and ask questions. If you do not feel like unmuting yourself and asking those questions, you can put them in the chat or the Q&A. We'll answer them there too. But feel free to unmute and ask any questions you want, especially if you have to interrupt me and ask that question, please feel free. I'd rather you ask the question when you've got it than, potentially forget what the question was towards the end. So with that in mind, today we are going to go over a monthly recap of some of the things we went over for the last month. So we're going to go over the all-new e-route, the new dashboard in the BOSS system, and then for any of you who are Linehaul, we're going to go over the analyzing your settlement statement in the BOSS system and utilizing that settlement analysis email for payroll. So without further ado, I will get my phone going here. So I am going to pull up the P&D driver app on my phone. It can be done on a on phone or tablet. It is available on Android and Apple. So my particular device is an iPhone 14 Pro Max. So it is going to be a little bit bigger screen than some phones. Here, there we go. This is what the P&D driver app looks like. You want to make sure that everybody is on that 1.6.0 because that is the most recent update. A lot of people have their phones set to auto update, so most drivers don't even realize until they get into it that there's an update. But make sure that if they're having any issues that they get on this, they make sure they're on this particular app version. We're gonna, do I have the wrong? Yep. Not distributing, it's distributing. There we go. I can't spell today, Ken. It must be, I want the end of the week. Everybody else ready for Friday?
My problem's my fat fingers, so.
Oh, I'm telling you, I can't spell to save my life today, which is really, really bad for those of you who are aware. I was an English major in college, so the fact that I can't spell today is not doing me justice. Okay, so this is what the main dashboard does look like in the new P&D driver app now. So we did change it around. We did update some things. There is now a to-do list. This helps for those drivers pesky drivers who tend to forget to clock in and out. There is now, if you click clock in, it is going to take you to the timekeeper, and they can go ahead and clock in. Once they do so, it'll take them back to this main screen, to the main dashboard, and that will be checked, okay? And same thing with their pre and post trip inspections. It'll make it so that that box will be checked once they get it done, all right? If you notice down here, the KPI area down here has nothing in it because we have not chosen a route yet. Once your driver chooses a route and clicks get stopped, you will be able to see, they'll be able to see these KPIs, they'll fill in for them. And what service area was it that you were saying?
The 308, 707,
okay.
And 233, but it's not showing as late in here for some reason. But he's got stops to do. He does have a stop list.
Okay. if you don't have your drivers set up to receive their work area based on certain parameters, so there's a couple of options. You can make it so that your drivers can only see the route that they're logged into on their scanner. You can make it so that they can only see the route that is their default route, which you would have to set in the system. And there's also a way for you to set it so that they can see all the routes. Okay, so if you don't worry about your driver seeing everybody's routes, that's fine. We have had issues with that in the past where drivers will get a little upset because they see other people's routes. So that's why we added that in there. Okay, so in this particular case, we're going to choose this service area and this work area. This particular contractor does have two different service areas. And then again, we went and chose from the list of work areas. So we're going to click Get Stops. And what that's doing is it's pulling the manifest information and everything from the FXG API. So there is no, you don't have to pull any manifest. There's no setup for you in the background. The only setup to get eRoute to work is for you guys to set us up as your data provider in the SEC. Super easy to do. We can help you do it if you need help doing it. It's super easy, and it actually connects our system to the FedEx API for your company for all of the things in our system that use that API. So the Optics app, the driver app, that main screen and the dashboard, anything that comes from that API is connected through that connection. So what you're going to see when you first get into the all new eRoute is this massive map. Okay, so this is something that's new. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you can see the whole work area. And it's got all new pins. If you click on a pin, so let's click on 131. So if you click on a pin, it is going to pull up a, calculating the directions, here you go. It's going to pull up the information that you need to know for this particular stop, okay? So it's going to tell you that it's a delivery. It's going to give you who it is, the phone number, is the signature required, and then any notes. So in this new system, you can click Navigate. If you click Navigate, it'll take you out to Google Maps. I'm not going to drive 2-3 hours to go deliver this stop, but I could if I needed to. You can click Track. In this particular situation, this one's going to say it's out for delivery. What this does is it gives the driver a ability to see the tracking information that comes from FedEx. That's also available to you in the BOSS system and in the Optics app for you as a DC or an owner. So it's not just available to drivers. And then they can also do something new called Add a Note. This is really great for a couple of reasons. If they want to add a note to this particular stop, this is what's going to pull up for them. So it's going to pull in some information that already exists that came from the stop itself. And here's where they would put those stop notes. They can flag it as important. So it would flash for them when they go to the stop. It would tell them whether or not it's an important note or not. And they can take a photo. So for instance, say there's a customer that wants, they've got 2 front doors and they want it delivered at a specific front door. You can take a picture of the one that they want it delivered at and put the note in there. So they'll be the next driver, that driver or the next driver will be able to see that when that stop shows up on another manifest. One other thing that's really great about this adding a stop note feature is, say, we're going to close this, say this particular stop, because it's right here. Say it says it's right here, but it's actually down here. If your driver is pulled up over here, and this is where the truck is, and they click Add Note, and they click this geocode button, it's going to change the latitude and longitude of this particular stop. They click Save and Close, it's going to move that pin to where it's supposed to be. So it fixes the stop latitude and longitude. This happens a lot when you have issues with business locations. The business may have moved, or a lot of times this is very beneficial for a field now magically as a group full of houses. We all know that FedEx does not update their lat and longitude very, very often. So that's a great way to update the latitude and longitude for that particular stop if it's not where it was actually supposed to be. There's also a couple of other features. I'm going to click the little close out button. We're going to close that out. There's a couple of other really cool features. You can click the layers button up here, and this is going to pop up with a couple of options for you. It's basically a way to view, change your view of what you're looking at on your map. Okay, so you can toggle this button here. This is the completed stop. So what it does is that if you notice in the background, all those gray pins went away. Those were all the completed stops for this route. If your driver wants to clear out all the stuff that's on there that's already completed stops, that's the way they would do it. If they wanted to just show time definites, they would turn all these off, and time definites would be this orange one. You can also have a different street map. So you can use street or satellite on Apple. On Android, you can also do traffic. This is really great if you are a driver who likes to actually see, you know, the overhead view of where you're going. And then you can also turn on a legend. So what I really like about this is if a driver is newer and they have not been in this app very often, and they're trying to learn how the app works and what all these pins mean, this shows up a legend for you to show what each one of those pins means. So like this white pin here is an exception. So we're going to click on it. There's that exception. We'll look at it here in a second. This orange here means that it's a time definite delivery. So we're going to click on that one. Delivered by 20. Okay, E2A delivery. No signature required.
Click on stop 6. That was the one that was late. He actually delivered it 100. Right
Here,
there.
what I'll do is I'll show you how you can go. Stop 6 is hopefully over here somewhere. It's not. There it is. There's 6. Which Ken was talking about this one in particular. This one was delivered late. It was supposed to be delivered by 12. They did deliver it late. It does show as delivered. Let me show you how you'd be able to see this. So I'm going to turn off the legend because it takes up too much screen space for me. If you go to P&D stops down here on the bottom, you can pull up a list of all your pickup and delivery stops. If you see here where it says number 6, so all these like kind of grayed out stops are all of the completed stops. When I'm going to scroll here in a second, you're going to see all of the ones that are like bold and black. Those are the ones that are not completed yet. This particular stop was delivered late. So it was supposed to be by 12. They delivered it. It says 11:42. Oh, it's CDT. Is that because I have my settings set to central? Oh, Eastern. Something happened in the scanner. I hear all these. Do you notice that?
Mine
Ken?
shows 12:42 on my phone, which is weird.
I must have some settings set up on my phone wrong because that should be Eastern and it should be 12:42. So they did deliver it 42 minutes late. That will show you what, and they delivered it. It was supposed to be the 6th stop. They delivered 125th. The thing here, and Ken can attest to this a lot, with these time definites, the key to getting them off the truck when they're supposed to be is getting them off the truck when they're on your manifest. We see a lot of problems with drivers missing those time definite stops when they start delivering the stops out of order. Okay. Looks like, yeah, it was scan 14. Okay, so it does look like when we open this up, he did 141 stops. He has 21 left to do. If we scroll down here, we're still, again, we're showing all the completed stops. Start scrolling down here, you're going to see some of the stops that have not been completed yet. Here's that list on the side here. If they wanted to just see the time definite stops, they can click the TD stop button down here at the bottom. And it will tell you you have one upcoming stop with the delivery commit times. Right now, again, we're showing the already completed stops. If we wanted to turn off the completed stops, there we go. So we do have that one that I had showed you guys earlier that is due at this time. If we wanted to see all of the completed stops again, but you wanted to see them, this is showing it by stop number. So it's showing you zeros, all the zeros, and then it's showing you 1, 2, 3. It's showing you all of these particular stops in stop number. They can toggle it over to time. So it'll tell them, you know, by what time. It'll show them the stops by time in which they need to be delivered by. So he did get all of his 1030s off, it looks like, on time. Okay. Any questions so far?
Hey, Mason.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, real quick. Ken and I were out in Amarillo last week, and we were talking to a CSP out there that, you know, uses the eRoute, and they actually use it to mark like public restrooms. That way, when other people are on the route, they know where the public restrooms are. As far as the geocode.
Yes. So
that
you
worked out
want-
great for them.
Yeah, so if you do want to do that, all you do is they tap on the map somewhere. So say we tap here, and you confirm you want to add a stop note. It'll put it. So where I did that was like, say it's right here. They can click add stop note, yes, and they can put that there's a public restroom here.
And they
Is
use
that
a
what you were
lot.
talking about?
They use it a lot. Yep. And they use it for dogs. You know, taking pictures of the dogs,
yeah.
or you know, the ones you got to watch out
Codes.
for. Yeah. Yep. They absolutely love it. They said it was almost dummy proof.
Well, we like that, don't we? Your drivers can set this up to auto refresh. So like we have a lot of people who will use eRoute. Their drivers will use it, and they get so used to their route that obviously after a certain amount of time they don't need to have a map up showing everything. So they'll set eRoute up to auto update. So what you do is you go down in here into settings. And right here, it'll tell you if you want to, you can turn this on and you can say, I want to have it refresh how often. So every 15, 30, hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. A lot of people will put it to 15. So what'll happen is if they get out of eRoute and they come back in later, it'll update every 15 minutes for them. So that's something that's really nice. This does update based on your scanner. So this can stay as updated as every time you want to click the refresh button. It does not take very long because all they're pulling is their particular route. They're not pulling everyone's, they're just pulling their, oh, they got that time definite done. It's just pulling this one particular route, okay? So it does not take very long for that route to refresh and update. They may go 5, 10 stops, come back in here, and if they've got it set to auto update, by that time it probably already has updated. If not, they can click refresh and it'll be completely updated based on what they've already completed. Okay. Any questions, comments, things you thought you might see you didn't, things you'd like to see in here?
If you could put the
Anything like
pickups
that.
also, I did want to notate it will, as you get on-call pickups and they get added to the manifest through the day, it will add those pickups.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they have any or not.
I don't know if they have any or not either. Let's see. They're all done.
Yeah, 2 of 4 done is what I show. So, yeah.
Okay. So he's got two left. Scheduled pickup. Yeah. So these will it will show on-call pickups. Those will show up in their manifest on here if they have it, if they keep refreshing it. There's one, and they do show up in black. Okay. Any other questions, comments, additions, anything of that sort? Very quiet group today. Okay, well then in that case, we're going to go back into the boss system. Okay. So what we've got going on in the boss system. So the boss system is a lot easier for us to update. The driver app, it takes us some time to get it into those app stores and stuff. So for those of you who get into the boss system regularly, you might have seen that this gets updated about once a week. One of the last updates, it did give you an all new screen. So if you notice, all of this stuff started to populate and is already populated. This is that retrieving data from FedEx that we were talking about with the API connection. What's nice about this though is you can navigate away. Okay, so say we need to go into the drivers and you got in here to address, change someone's pay or change their password because they forgot their password that day or what have you. You can get in here and do those things. You can navigate away from that main screen and get a couple of other, things you meant to get in here to do done while you're waiting for that main screen to populate with some of the information from FXG. The reason is because it does, depending on how many routes you have in your FCC, it can take a minute. See right down here, it says your home dashboard has finished loading. Would you like to navigate away? Yes. So we're going to go back to this main screen, and it's going to show you now today's average stops per dispatch for this particular operation. I don't believe they actually have the quote unquote time definite service yet, but they're at 100% for the ones that everybody has at the moment. Their ILS today is 100%, and at this moment, this is their operational progress as far as today is concerned. They are out in Kansas, so they're in a different time zone than I am in particular. So they're a little bit further behind than, the Eastern time zone people. Some of the other things that are in here that are new, this does not show you right now because all of his employees are top-notch employees and everybody's clocked in. If you see your employees, a name right here and it says the unit number and the work area that they're on, but it says this is where if they show up in here, it means they're not clocked in. You can click the edit button and add that clock in for that driver, okay? This gives you the ability to do that right here on the main screen. The two tiles, well, I should say 3 tiles that have not changed from the main screen originally are this map here. You can see where everybody is. This is showing you this CSA. He has 2. You can switch it to the other CSA. There you go. So here's his other CSA and its progress. It shows you the last scan location of all of your drivers. Safety compliance, this has not changed. This is your ongoing safety training program and how your drivers are where they are in the completion of that as far as that is concerned. And then the DOT compliance items, this is where if you have medical examiner certificates, driver's license, vehicle inspections, things like that are expiring, you can click on it. And for this one, it was there you go, and a license expiring. You come in here and you make that change. And when you do, this will go from 3 to 2. So it makes it so that it's very easily accessible for you to change those expiring dates. Okay. The other 2 charts here before we go into the real-time activity, the other 2 charts here that are newer are these average on-road hours per dispatch and average stops per dispatch. This just gives you this last week of the average on-road hours per dispatch and his average stops per dispatch as well for this particular CSA. Go back to this one. So, okay. Now you can either click go to op metrics or you can click real-time activity to go to, so this is op metrics. This shows you your information for the last week that comes in from the API, and it breaks it down. Total stops, average stops per day, dispatches. This has been in here for a really long time. That takes you to the op metrics. If you go to real-time activity, this information is coming from the FedEx API. For those of you who have been in the Optics app, it is the owner or BC app that has been out there for a little while. It will bring in some of that information. If you get in here in the morning, fun fact, if you get in here in the morning while your preload is happening and you go, it'll show you the preload. This is really great when you start getting time definite service, okay? Because you can watch as the preloading is happening, you can watch how many time definites are going on each route. You can see what, you know, are they 1030s? Are they 12s? You know, if you see that they're getting 25 1030s on a truck and that truck doesn't dispatch till 9:30, maybe it's time to move a couple of those stops to a different route. But being able to actively watch the preload is really important. Okay. On road, this is very similar to what is in the Optics app. You can see that each of these drivers did do their pre-trip, what their current on-road hours are, and what their progress is with their delivery stops, any time definites they may have, pickups, and if they have any exceptions. Okay, and it does give you down here at the bottom kind of a general KPI for this particular CSA. If we go to his other one, here we go. So this one's a little bit bigger. I'm going to show you how far along everybody is. Okay. This is just something great to have if you're sitting at your desk and you don't want to pull up the Optics app at that moment because you're not out and about. You can pull this up on the main screen here. And then you can also see just time commits. This is also equally great when you start getting that express volume and you start having to manage that. This is showing he has 16 remaining of this time. Something that is really great for those that have time definite service. This is going to not show completed stops at the moment. Here are some that have been completed. But what's really great about this particular tool is you can filter out all of the different stop times. He doesn't have any 1030s, but it would have shown you what 1030s he did have. Okay. Let's see. There you go. So it filters them out so you can see what your entire operation has instead of having to go into each individual driver and see what each individual driver has. See, as you can see, these are two different drivers. Okay. And something else that's really great, just like we were talking about before, you can click Get Tracking Info, and you can audit those delivery pictures. I've opened some of these, and the pictures that are in here get pretty interesting. We do have people that are saying that FedEx is starting to go through at random and audit these pictures. So being able to go in here and do a quick little audit yourself is also really great to do, because you just never know what you're going to find when you open up one of these and get a picture. Okay. We'll open one more. There you go, all good pictures. So being able to go in there and see all of that information, see when it was delivered. So this is also going to tell you what filter you have on. So we're showing completed stops. We're showing that this particular commit time, all routes, all drivers, all vehicles. He has 8 of 18 complete. And of those 8 that have been completed, all of them have been on time. This is also equally great when you get into those 1030s and those 12s, being able to see which of those were on time, and how many of them have been completed and how many of them were on time is also great to figure out what your service level is for that particular day. Okay. Any other questions about this or anything else to add from the eTruckBiz team?
I'm good.
Also, you can, this is just showing time definite stops by list view. You can also show it by route.
Yeah, the one thing you can do if you just want to see the remaining stops, like at 10 o'clock, what a lot of the guys will do for their 10:30, so they'll go in there and just look and hit that just so to see the remaining stops.
Yeah. And they'll go in here and they'll turn off the completed stops. So far, and this is just this particular CSA. If we switch to this other one, he's got quite a bit. They just go in here and see how many they've got left. So they've got 16 remaining. Okay. All right. Any other questions about anything else that's going on this main screen? Andy, I am shocked you don't have any questions, at least by this point in the presentation. I'm just going to have to say it.
He's got it down,
Um,
the expert now.
he probably has himself muted because he doesn't want to. He's like, if I ask another question, Mason might come after me.
No,
right.
most of this stuff I don't understand at all. So I just let Becky and everybody. So I typically try not to talk when I'm talking out of any place with my mouth. So I didn't know what I was talking about, so I just kept quiet.
All right. Do we have? I'm looking through the list of attendees here. Is anybody on here Linehaul? Because I'm not going to go into the Linehaul thing if none of you are Linehaul. That would be really boring for all of you. Do it this way. Raise your hand on here if you're Linehaul, or pipe up for me. Ken, can you look at the attendees and tell me if any of these guys are Linehaul? I can't remember.
Don't think
No,
anybody
Andy's not.
is. No, I don't think anybody is. I think they're all
Okay.
PND.
Well, then I am not going to bore you with the Linehaul stuff because it is. If you don't want to be involved in Linehaul, then you don't want to be involved in Linehaul. Let's just put it that way. Any other questions about anything else that's in the BOSS that you've seen lately that you had questions about that you haven't been able to get answered thus far? BOSS system, optics app, driver app, anything eTruckBiz. That's what this particular software workshop is for this week, is a recap and go over anything that you guys might have seen in here that you had questions about. All right, you're all letting me get to my Friday early. Thank you. Okay, so upcoming topics next week is 4th of July next Thursday, so we will not be on here. And I hope everybody enjoys their 4th of July. After that, we're going to go over time definites in the optics app. It kind of marries up with this, new driver app and being able to see those time definites. So what you'll do is that week we'll be able to see the different, what you see as a BC or an AO versus what the driver sees in that driver app. After that, we're going to go over the op metrics, which is kind of something you saw a little bit earlier, is going over all the bits and pieces of your operation. As far as the numbers are concerned, those do come in every night. So you'll get to see as early as 10 p.m. Eastern, your numbers for today. And as well as if you get in there the next day, you see the previous day's information. And then again, we're going to do a monthly recap of all of the information that we did for that week. So if I do not talk to any of you by the end of the week, have a great rest of your weekend. Here is my contact information. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, suggestions for the software, have questions about anything eTruckBiz, just want to chat, here's my contact info. Please feel free to reach out, and we hope you all have a great rest of your week and weekend.
Bye-bye.